All right, thank you for staying with Daybreak and Citizen TV. We'd like to hear your views on every single subject that we're going to touch on here. Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya, use the hashtag Daybreak. We're calling it the race to State House. Just 76 days to go. A lot is going on. We'll talk about the issues of integrity, the gender card, the promises and priorities. And also, let's start off with the dailies, though. Let's front page of the Daily Nation. And I'll introduce my guests real quick before we get into that. Honorable Stephen Mule is here, Member of Parliament for Matungulu. Asante sana for making time.
Thank you.
Lavenda Ojala is also here. She's a political commentator. Asante sana for making time.
Thank you, Trevor.
And Joshua Kipto, Speaker, Nandi County Assembly, will be joining us online in just a bit. As soon as he comes in, we'll rope him into the conversation as well. Let's take a look at the Daily Nation front page. On the top side there, Raila readies for Kalonzo return. The Raila Odinga-led Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party is laying the ground for Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka's return to its fold, with plans to incorporate his allies into the presidential campaign teams established on Monday. And Honorable Mule, I'll start with you on this. Yes. What is the position here?
Thank you very much, Trevor. The position is very clear. The professionals made a call to His Excellency Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka to reconsider his decision. The clergy did the same, and the political class did the same. And I know there are quite a number of also interested parties, Kenyans, who want Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka to reconsider his decision of running it solo and join back Raila. Where I'm seated, I think we are all set for that agreement and everything to be put in place to make sure that Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka joins back the Azimio team. What
form is that agreement going to take?
Basically, we are looking at different aspects, aspects of development, merging the manifesto for Wiper and the full Azimio team, making sure that our people have the best of the best in Raila's government. We're also looking forward to make sure that we have a win-win situation whereby Kenyans will not go for the second round of voting in this country. We'll win this election the first round squarely.
What are his sentiments? Because there's a difference between the call by the people and the clergy. Have you spoken to him directly, and what did he say?
Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka right now is out of the country, is in UK, and I know he has been communicating with us through Zoom and other. He said that Kenya is bigger than an individual, and we believed him, and he said that he's willing, for the sake of Kenyans and for the sake of winning this election early enough, is ready to reconsider that decision. And I can assure you, once it touches back in the country, you'll see a lot of activities. There are planned rallies in Narok, in Ukambani, in part of the coast, which are led by Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, to drum support for the entire Azimio team and to drum support for Kenyans to make sure that we move together. The essence here is that let's bring the country together. And for us, we are urging him to him so that we don't divide the country anymore. The country has already taken shape. We need to assist the country for unity.
So he personally told you that he's willing to reconsider that position?
He said it very clearly that so long as the interests of the people of Kenya is in that direction, who is he? He is willing to play ball together with the people of Kenya. And Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is a decent man. He's a reasonable man, and I can believe that he has the will and the wishes of Kenyans at heart.
Did he give any conditions?
This time around, no conditions. It's Azimio to know how to replan themselves. Why should you give conditions? The condition is one, let's unite Kenya.
Okay.
That is the condition.
All right.
We don't want any more divisions.
Okay.
Yes.
Lavenda, what do you make of this move by Kalonzo Musyoka, sometimes saying one thing and then reconsidering the position? What do you make of that?
I think I'm happy with what Mheshimiwa has said here, because Kalonzo is a gentleman. We've always watched his politics from time immemorial up to date. And I think what he was trying to do, we know that Kalonzo was Raila's running mate in 2013, 2017. So if this time round he was not going to be the running mate, he had to give his people the assurance that whatever I'm getting into must be for the good of the people. So I'm happy when Mheshimiwa here says that Kalonzo is ready to put the country forward. Kalonzo Musyoka and Raila Odinga have worked before, and I'm sure they'll work together and achieve whatever they've been planning all these years.
Yeah.
I cannot really call him a watermelon per se, as people would want to brand him. But to me, Kalonzo Musyoka is a gentleman, and I'm happy he has decided to go back to his earlier decision to rejoin Azimio. They work together with Raila to the journey to State House.
Yeah.
I'm happy, and I think the decision is welcomed. So I just urge my Azimio people not to make fun of Kalonzo, to say that he's not very good in decision making. No. We are saying Kalonzo sometimes can say this, but he also has that heart of consulting his people. So I can say he wanted to run for the presidency, but again his people called for a meeting and said, we are better off in Azimio. We are better off with Raila Odinga's presidency. And that is where we are. And I think that decision is mature enough and it is timely. Okay. Welcome back to Azimio, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka.
Yes. But Honorable Mule, who are you campaigning for right now? Because then he's still running for president until he says that he's not, and the Azimio team also has a flag bearer.
Trevor, politics has a lot of changes.
Yeah.
And basically, once we pronounce ourselves the day before yesterday at Stonathi as leaders, we were very clear. So we are campaigning for a government led by Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, backing Honorable Raila Odinga, and running mate Martha Karua. And don't forget, who brought Martha Karua on board to this equation is Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. I remember the first rally we had in Machakos with Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka and Martha Karua. I challenged Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka to pick Martha Karua as his running mate and run for president together. But you see the dynamics of politics of the today Kenya are very, very intense. And basically what we are looking at, we are looking on a consultated government which gives Kenyans the will to do the best things for them. One, to make sure that we bring down the cost of living, to make sure that we bring the cost of education in this country down, to make sure that we call upon more investors to invest in our country to grow the economy. And the bottom line is that I know when Wiper and Azimio merges their manifesto, we are looking on a 24-hour economy. There are other stories being given around to Kenyans of different models of economy. And I saw the deputy president to Kenya Kwanza yesterday. He can't explain what is bottom-up. He's telling us that they will dismantle Safaricom, get all the money, give it to the... That can happen, Trevor. We are looking at a government led by Honorable Raila Odinga, Deputy Martha Karua, and a strong ally of Raila Odinga, Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. These are leaders who can unite Kenya, who can give Kenyans the food for thought for the future and nurture young people. We must deal with the issue of unemployment in this country, Trevor. And that can only come with a settled government. That cannot come with a government whereby tomorrow we are not very sure whether they'll be in court trying to defend themselves. Tomorrow we don't, we are not very clear they will be taking over Nairobi National Park, because you know very well how greedy they are with the land. So please, Kenyans, we need to get more serious. And I believe Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is giving us these chances, Kenyans, to move forward, to unite the entire country and make sure that the 24-hour economy has been talking about, the issue of blue economy in this country, the issue of unemployment in this country is tackled once and for all. And we deal with the slaying called corruption in this country.
Yeah.
We cannot have a country whereby stealing is left, right, center. And that's why our colleagues on the other side, they cannot give you a clear indication of how they will deal with the issue of corruption. That's why their slogan is kazi kwa kazi. They may think that even corruption is kazi kwa kazi.
But still, there are some people, critics, who say that Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is an indecisive leader.
Those are critics, and if as a politician, you must accept every critic which comes with you. I believe that Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is very decisive because he makes a decision based on consultation with his people. So he is a leader who gives his people to consult with him and agree on the position. And that's why we are saying that when the call came from the professionals from the region, when the call came from the clergy, and when the call has come from the political class, I can assure you that he does not have, he doesn't have any issue with that call. And he's making a decision. And let me tell you, this is a decision which is defining this election. This decision of coming back to Azimio is a decision determining this election. Because if Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka muscles up his troops within the country and move forward to run for presidency, I can assure you, Honorable Raila Odinga and Honorable William Samoei Ruto, none of them can get 50 plus 1%. It's a fact. And look at when before the naming of the deputy president by Honorable Raila Odinga, they were at par at 42. That 42% at par with Honorable Ruto included Kalonzo's support. When he pulled out, the numbers changed to 39. And also that number affected the numbers of Kenya Kwanza, which tells you that the determining factor, and I said this a year ago, the determining factor of 2022 general election is one other than Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. It's a serious determining factor which you can't run away from. Yeah. So I believe that Kenyans, we need to embrace a government which is all-inclusive, a government which will make sure that Kenyans put food on the table, yeah. A government which will continue with the good work of infrastructure in this country. Trevor, if it was not for the infrastructure which has been put in place by the Jubilee administration led by Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta right now, yeah. I don't believe I could be in this studio right now. The traffic was crazy, but it has taken me less than 7 minutes from my home to here.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me bring in Joshua Kiptoi, and Joshua Kiptoi is the Speaker, Nandi County Assembly. Joshua, thank you so much for making time for us. Before you came in, we were just talking about the Daily Nation here, front page. Raila readies for Kalonzo's return. And Honorable Mule here is saying that the determining factor of the 2022 election is Kalonzo Musyoka. Do you agree that without him, none of either side, your side or Azimio side, none can get the 50 plus 1?
Thank you very much, Trevor, for this opportunity. Number one, I want to say we sincerely appreciate when we engage in such. And importantly, I think the question that you've been able to raise is whether Kalonzo is a determining factor. My answer is an emphatic no. He is a main player, or he is a serious player, but not the determining factor. Because when you talk about a determining factor, it means that he is the one to dictate where the vote will go. And that is not the position. I think the position is the determining factors are the two leading presidential candidates. That is Raila and our Deputy President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. And this election has shaped up to be clearly a battle between the two coalitions. So the only difference would be when Musyoka purported to quit Azimio, it only made it easier and widened the gap that would have existed between Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. Him going back to the fold would only mean it tightens the race. It makes it a tight contest between the two. So yes, he has a role. He has a place and he has an impact, but not determining. I would put it as a critical. I think it is more critical to Azimio because minus Kalonzo, they were losing a significant vote block that Raila has had in 2013 and 2017, which was advantage to Kenya Kwanza coalition. With Kalonzo back in the fold, my only concern would be, I would be keen to see how Kambani reacts to the same. Would they feel that he's flip-flopped too much and possibly some existence of a protest vote against the same? But be that as it may, what it portends is that it just makes the race closer between the two coalitions. Unlike before, when he had purported to leave, it had made it much easier for Kenya Kwanzas to streamline. With Kalonzo back, the race is back, and it becomes again a tight race between the two formations.
All right. Ojala,
yes,
is it the determining factor?
Yes, I think he's a major player in this because you cannot ignore Kalonzo. Kalonzo is coming here with 2 million plus votes in his basket, and that is something we cannot totally say that Kalonzo is not a major player. I think Mr. Speaker is talking so because Kalonzo is coming back to Azimio, is not opted to join Kenya Kwanza, so we understand where he's coming from. But I think Kalonzo is a major player in this election, and him joining Azimio has really widened the gap And I think Raila is going to gain some percentages compared to that of Ruto. So as Azimio people, we welcome him back, and we believe that his people from Ukambani will tell him, Mzee, once you're here, we expect you not to turn back, and people will start saying you are not good in making decisions. So you are here to stay. Let us run this race up to August 2022.
Okay.
There's one thing that Mheshimiwa did not mention, that Martha, Kalonzo, and Raila, they share a history together. And the three of them, they have no history of corruption charges. If there is, then I don't know. But there are three people who are not going to be burdened by court cases every now and again. So that is something that we are proud of. Okay. And Kalonzo Musyoka joining this thing is something big. It is not small, the way Mr. Speaker is trying to portray it. Okay. But we understand this is politics.
All right, Joshua Kipto, let me bring you back on this conversation. You know, there's another topic here on the front page of the Daily Nation. Criticos awarded me 2,500 acres of his farm. So how we did it? Deputy President, who is on tour of the coastal region, is forced to confront the controversy surrounding his 2,536 acres of Mata farm in Taita Taveta County, explaining his dealings with Basil Criticos and opening himself up for scrutiny over his land dealings. So is this a way of the Deputy President showing that he's honest? This was a willing buyer, willing seller kind of conversation. And this is one conversation that has always been on the front pages in terms of how much does he own, what kind of land, how did he acquire it. For him coming out to declare that this was awarded to me, the 2,500 acres, after I helped him pay a loan, does that show how open he is? Or the critics would say that still there are questions on how much property people own in this country?
Thank you very much. One, I wanted first to demystify a point. Before I can answer that question, I think Lavender has made a wrong presumption in saying that Kalonzo is coming with 2 million plus vote. That number has been banded, but that is not the case. Ukambani can give a max, a top-ups of 1 million vote, not 2 million. 2 million is a significant amount. So that is one thing I wanted to correct. 1 million votes, yes, but there's no guarantee that it is 100%. Even in 2013 and in 2017, Jubilee still got around 20 to 23%. So give them a top swap of around 800,000, and the same can be compensated elsewhere. Secondly, the question that you've raised about the Deputy President, I think this election is unique in its own way. This is an election that is about putting issues and agenda on the table, and more importantly, showing Kenyans the true state of affairs. And I think when the Deputy President decided to put a declaration, if you look at the Deputy President's opponents, one of the biggest selling card they have been using is that the Deputy President is corrupt or his team is corrupt. So I think putting the record straight bring the discussion to the table. Kenya Kwanza has come to the table and say our strong point is on matters economy, but at the same time we want forthright and straightforward leadership, so that if there is a problem, we will acknowledge there is a problem. In fact, if you look at the campaigns of Kenya Kwanza, they have been clear, saying that as a Jubilee regime, there are successes and there are failures. And when we choose to say that we want to change the trajectory, it is acknowledging the failures. So if you talk about the issue of land, it is an emotive issue. It has always been used against him as a person, and he's not shied away from that. I think even in press interviews, he's come out clearly to express himself on the same. So I think it's a bold step for him as a leading contender at this important hour where elections are around the corner. Any other person would have jumped away from the controversy and wouldn't watch even a mention of the issue. But for him accepting to bring it to the table shows you the determination and the desire to be able to set the record straight. Importantly, remember, in the coastal region, lands is the major issue, because you have absentee landlords and you have the big landowners, and majority of the population at the coast do not have their own title deeds. I think Jubilee tried, even the Grand Coalition government, I think, under Orengo, when they tried to distribute titles, that remains an emotive issue in the land. Why would you think, for example, Raila Odinga would appoint Joho as a lands cabinet secretary designate? Because at the coast, 50 to 60%, especially rural coast, Kwale, Kilifi, Taita Taveta, the 60-70% of the issues that will be determining factor will be the issue of outlands. So I think the Deputy President wants to make it an agenda and doesn't want to allow it to be more or less be a propaganda where it said he grabbed all that. No, it is clear where he comes out clear, and you could see the choice of the venue, Taita Taveta, where the issue is a serious problem, because in Taita Taveta you cannot rule out the issue of Savo National Park, and then you have these big landowners. The President family is the biggest landowner family in that particular place, but rarely have you seen leaders leaders coming out and accepting and acknowledging. But for him, I think that's a bold move, and going to the next 2 months, the battle for the heart and soul of the coast votes will be on the issue of lands, and I think both coalitions will come out guns blazing. The Deputy President has decided to put himself on the line, and he is willing and ready to answer on the same, and I think it will give us, for example, as voters, or it will give even the media a chance to be able to make such an important emotive issue in the coast to be at the center of the campaign for the two coalitions.
Yeah. Mule, what do you make of this confession? 2,536 acres matter farm in Taita Taveta. Deputy President William Ruto opens up about the controversy, says he owns the land genuinely.
Trevor, and I think I alluded to this earlier when I say that I'm not very sure that Kenya Kwanza, with their greedy for land, they will not grab our national park, which is just next to Ole Sereni Hotel. Why is he coming to explain this time? Because he wants to woo the coast people and show that it was a clean deal. We know very well, the other day we saw a ruling from court whereby about issues of basic criticals and land at the coast. And I can't believe, and let me be honest with you, if you read the headline is very clear. Awarded, not bought. They're just trying to look at the issue in a clever way. How can Basit award his land to somebody? And I want to tell my brother from the other side that Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka commandeers more than 2.5 million votes in this country. And not only in Ukambani, but across the country. Wiper as a party, we have filled 400 members of National Assembly. We have filled 125 members of National Assembly, several governors, about 15 of them, several senators. So the masses are very clear and we know about the numbers. And you see the biggest problem is that when issue like this for land comes up and you are not telling Kenyans, I helped him to pay a loan.
He does say that he helped him pay a loan to Agriculture Finance Corporation.
We need evidence. Trevor, we cannot take anything from this gentleman from the face value. So many scandalous dealings about land surround him. I think it's the high time we look at the integrity. And let me be honest with you, Trevor. Beside the economy, beside the issues of cost of living, one issue Kenyans must look with a microscopic eye is the integrity of the kind of leaders we are going to give power in 2022. We cannot afford to allow Kenya to proceed this way. And I think that's why I'm urging all Kenyans. We are looking at this issue with opaqueness, because of the timing of coming to disclose, I've been awarded 2,500 acres of his farm. There are so many. You go to Krigori's, we still have an issue of the Murumbi land, which surrounds, he's still finding himself in that. We still had the issue of the land at Ruai, which belongs to Nairobi for the Siwa department. So please, Trevor, I want to urge Kenyans this morning that if you have your small land somewhere, please fence it before he sees it.
but Lavender, in all fairness, I mean, there are many other people who own land in different places. They have not come out to say, this is how much land I own, and this is how I acquired it. Isn't this a part of honesty that is now taking over?
I don't really think that is honesty, because he's always owned his land. So why such a time when you have 2 months to the general election? I think there's something behind all these things, because you cannot just come out and say, I was awarded such a huge chunk of land. On what basis? So, Trevor, I think there are colonial land policies that the government of Kenya inherited at independence. So those are the things that I urge the incoming government, and I believe Azimio is going to be the incoming government, that they look at these issues critically. They look at these issues critically so that we solve them once and for all. Because I believe people like William Ruto took advantage of land problems in the coast to acquire more more and huge chunks of land to themselves. So I believe this issue should be sorted with the incoming government, because it's just too much. It's not just this one. There's one around Langata Road. They're everywhere. Why is it always one person? When we go to where he comes from in Eldoret, there's another case that another man was claiming he was displaced from his piece of land. So we really have to ask questions. Why is it always one person? This. So we really need to sort out these land issues once and for all.
Actually,
and I don't know.
Yeah, let her finish, then I'll come to you.
I'm just done, but I was just about to say, I don't know whether the Land Commission has really put in place structures to solve out these land issues. But maybe that is something that can be looked into when the new government takes over and we put proper structures and we digitalize the Ministry of Land. Honorable Charity Ngilu tried doing that some times back, but I think it flopped. So the new, the designate, I think Raila Odinga has actually put some ministries to some people. So we urge the new person who will be in charge of the land docket to ensure that the ministry is well taken care of. We have better structures and the dealings there are transparent.
But Farida Karone has also tried to digitize the land.
Yeah, I think she's also tried. Yeah. She's also tried. Okay. Let me not be mean to her, but let's hope for more structures that will be put in place.
I was actually trying to add what my sister is saying, that the land in Eldoret, a ruling was done by the court that it has been grabbed by the same man. There is a ruling. He was fined. It's in public domain. It's not that we are trying to paint him. He has already painted himself with these land issues. And as I've said, it's high Kenyans to look at the integrity. Now, we zero down to the integrity of the kind of a person seeking the highest office in this country. Please, Kenyans, we need to move out of this. We are tired of this land has been grabbed, this land has been grabbed, cartels running left, right, center, trying to do all manner of things. Let's look at the integrity of this country. Honorable Raila Odinga, Honorable Martha Karua, and Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka have been in this country for so long. Why are they not painted with the same scenarios?
Yes.
Why? Well, surely, let's protect what we have. And the only way to protect our land, the interests of Kenyans, we protect Kenyans from corrupt cartels, which are surrounding the Kenya Kwanza team, it is to vote them out early enough in the morning.
Okay.
Correct.
Crypto, let me bring you into this. Does this point to a bigger administrative issue when it comes to land adjudication in this country? Go ahead, Kipto.
Thank you very much. I think we've given a lot of airtime to my two co-panelists to be able to spew a lot of pedestrian thinking and more probably non-factual information. Number one, I would want to engage the public, and I'm happy the Kenyan public is well informed. One of the things that we have suffered as a nation, as a country, is the hypocrisy. Hypocrisy of the highest order that stinks to high heaven when it comes to leadership. When someone can speak boldly and say that, for example, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka has nothing. Yet even in Yatta Farm, which was documented in the Ndungu Land Commission, 400 acres, he cannot account for it, how he got it from NYS. I wouldn't want to go into an accusatory mode. If you talk about the Grand Coalition, where Raila was the Prime Minister, have we then forgotten the 500,000 acres that were hived off in the coast that the Jubilee regime had to come later, and some of them were being revoked, with James Orengo being the Lands Cabinet Secretary? So when you talk about lands issue, it's not about individual. And you know, very rare, it is extremely rare for a politician, especially during an electioneering period, who comes out in the public and say, let us talk about these issues. Importantly, we are politicians, and I would want to ask the Mheshimiwa Stephen Mule, show me a politician who would be willing to have an emotive issue be put on the table which may have consequence on his or her bid. If that is not honesty, if that is not the desire to put it on the table. On the issue of lands, it's not a new matter. Lands question goes back to the independent days. Remember, one of the cornerstone why we were fighting for independence was because of the issue of lands. Have we ever solved that question for the past 60 years? The issue is a big no. The biggest attempt we ever tried to do is when there was a complete commission put under Kibaki regime, and Martha Karua at that time was serving as a cabinet secretary. At that time, they were able to commission the Ndungu Lands Commission report. Has it ever been implemented even for a single minute? Never. Martha Karua served in that particular regime for 2 terms. That is 2003 as well as 2007. Under a grand coalition, the same thing. When we were drafting our constitution, right from the Bomas process, all the way to the time we were inaugurating our constitution in 2010, lands was given a significant chapter. The National Assembly, the Senate were given a responsibility to legislate and be able to strengthen the institutions we have. I'm happy even Lavender has picked it. You can imagine one of the leading lights of Azimio, Charity Ngilu, the governor Kitui, she was the cabinet secretary lands. Can we say that we ever saw any change? We never. So I think what is important, and I would want us to have a holistic approach. It is not individual based. All of us have failed. There is no coalition, whether Azimio or Kenya Kwanza, that can speak boldly and say that we are the only ones who can solve this. The only space or where to start is where the Deputy President has started, where he say, let us come clean and put everything on the table. Stephen Mule has referred to a matter that was in Eldoret, a court matter. That was a matter that was settled in court, and the Deputy President respected the court decision. So the moment something has been adjudicated over by the court of law and the same has been respected, it ceases to be a matter. So it cannot again be held against a person, because that would be res judicata. So my position would be, the lands issue does not involve just 1 or 2 individuals. The lands question is a bigger problem. I want to appreciate the current cabinet secretary, Farida Karonei. She, with her team, they have tried to digitize, even though the system still has an issue, because personally as a lawyer I can tell you, registering still becomes a problem. But that attempt in itself, and I'm happy if you look at what, for example, Kenya Kwanza has been saying. For us, it's about picking up from where the Jubilee has done, where a new proposal or where something that is progressive in nature that has to be proceeded. We will start with this one. This one can be a good case study. But importantly, all these issues we talk about can only be possible if we come with clean hands. In equity, it says whoever comes with clean hands, that is the person who can be listened to. Okay. The Deputy President has come to the table, has spoken to the Coastarian people and told them, yes, it is true, I have this land, I acquired it legally, and he's willing to engage in that debate. Okay. I think the best proposition would be any new government coming, and in this case, being confident that Kenya Kwanza government would be coming in, our first proposition would be, let us strengthen our institution. NLC, the county governments, the national government through the ministry, and importantly, pick up this matter with a lot of honesty, without just sugarcoating and just doing for the optics or the PR.
Okay. Still on the Daily Nation, there's an issue here. Let's move on from the land conversation. And there's shock concession. They say Kenya Kwanza presidential running mate Rigathi Gachagua yesterday conceded that his selection by the coalition's presidential aspirant William Ruto has divided the Mount Kenya leaders. Joshua, is this still a concern, or has it now galvanized them all together again? The choice of Rigathi Gachagua.
I think 1 week ago I was able to comment on this matter, and I can say, one, when it comes to the running mate issue, no coalition can be said to have been comfortable. If I can start with, for example, Kenya Kwanza, you saw the intrigues that went through, the haggling between whether to pick the Professor Kithure Kindiki or picking Rigathi Gachagua. The only difference is that the process was managed well, and you could see, despite it taking too long, because we were supposed to name the running mate by Saturday, but the negotiations and the discussions went into late until on Sunday. What I can be able to confirm to you is that when it comes to picking of such a running mate position, and in these elections of 2022, it has become an emotive issue. Our elections have evolved. Our political parties have evolved. The expectation of the public has gone a notch higher. There is serious expectation. And after the experience of the Deputy President William Ruto the past 5 years, people are more keen to see, are we picking someone who has synergy with the candidate? Yeah. And that is why you could see that particular tug of war. So from where I sit, yes, they may have been people who are disappointed with the choice, and that is normal in any competitive politics. And we are not just the only coalition suffering the same. In fact, Kenya Kwanza were much better, because Kithure Kindiki didn't bolt out. He actually came out and said clearly he has accepted he's not going to vie for any other seat, but he's going to campaign for Kenya Kwanza. And as late as yesterday, he came out and is in the caravan for for the Kenya Kwanza. So in as much as they may have been 1 or 2, 3 people who are not absolutely agreeable to it, but the last 1 week has proven that as time goes by, I think in the next 1 week it would have galvanized. Importantly, look at the successful rallies that happened in Nyeri, in Kiambu, in Muranga, with now the deputy president together with his running mate. And I can assure you, Trevor, it's not an easy thing, but how to surmount it makes the difference. Yeah. Look at Azimio. It had to cost Kalonzo to actually bolt out. If not for Sifil Mule and his party to go out and beg him to come back, it tells you how difficult it is. So from where I sit, I think, yes, they may have been concerned, but in the next 1 week or so, it will be clearer. And I'm happy now as a voter, beyond just being a supporter of Kenya Kwanza, as a voter, I'm happy that both coalitions have put in a lot of effort in picking a running mate who, when we present tomorrow, and it is time to prove, because I think some people thought Rigathi Gachagua was a pushover, but for the last 3-4 days you've seen that he's gone out of his way. The same with the Azimio candidate Martha Karua, she's going all out her way, and it has even made them on Kenya politics more exciting and interesting, because now it's a battle of the two running mates, Rigathi Gachagua pulling on his end and Martha Karua pulling on the other. Okay. So from where I sit, I think if there was any concern, the dust has settled, it's time to hit the road.
All right. Mule, what do you think of this, with Martha versus Rigathi? Because we've seen them all on the campaign trail.
As I said, that politics is a game of dynamics. The dynamics of Mount Kenya are very clear, and I can assure you that the picking up of Martha brought a lot of excitement. There are quite a number of critics who are saying that excitement will go down. I want to assure Kenyans that the pick of Martha in Mount Kenya is a big game changer. And for Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka coming back, even the game becomes sweeter. So for the Kenya Kwanza pickup, I remember His Excellency Honorable William Ruto had told Kenyans that it's not an issue which they can it can bother him not to lack sleep. But they spent 17 hours, and we are privy to the info of things which transpired that night, even pushover. Members could not agree, members voting, and at the end of the day they picked Honorable Gachagua instead of Kindiki. If you look at the interest and conversation between my colleagues who are in that in Kenya Kwanza, you'll be shocked. They voted, and this guy was gunning only four votes. At some point, we are being told that it was almost getting physical between him and a member within. So, for us, they messed up, and that is our happiness in Azimio. We'll show them the dust in Mount Kenya.
Okay, Lavenda.
Yes.
Between the two, the picks of the deputy presidents.
I think the difference between Martha Karua and Rigathi is like day and night. There's something called idiosyncratic variables that we use to gauge the capacity of leaders. So Martha's history and track record speak for itself. Look at Rigathi Gachagua, for example. He's not known. You have to go and Google, like, who is this? Then you'll find Molo Dio. He did what for President Moi during Nyayo House torture chambers. You will find his name over there. But Martha Karua, she started this fight in 1992. She's one of those figures who fought for the second liberation. And Martha has never stopped fighting. So we can say Martha has brought some fire into this Azimio ticket. There is nowhere in this country that Martha cannot go and campaign alone without Raila Odinga. And we have seen the kind of energy, the charisma that she has brought into the team. Martha enjoys what is called in politics the name recognition. That is a serious capital in politics. For Rigathi Gachagua, immediately he was appointed running mate. We saw him in Nyeri trying to talk to the electorate that Raila is the one that caused them not to have electricity. They don't have running water in their homes because of Raila Odinga. That after the handshake, Uhuru actually took the money that was meant for these projects and handed over to Raila Odinga. And I was there wondering, like, how gullible are these voters? Because this person talking is the MP for Madeira. His brother was the governor for Nyeri. How come they did not do all these things? So I think he's trying to sell fear and hate. And that narrative, I think, is something that needs to stop. Martha, on the other side, goes to central Kenya and sell policies of Azimio. She never goes personal as compared to Rigathi. So at times I look at the kind of running mate that William Ruto picked and I sympathize with them, because Rigathi is a nobody, Trevor, outside central Kenya. And to make it more worse, I've only seen this person, Mheshimiwa, let me call him Mheshimiwa, jumping from one local radio station to the other. Yesterday, or the day before yesterday, he was on a local radio TV saying how they are going to dismantle companies like Safaricom so that they create job opportunities. So there are people who cannot even explain their economic model of the bottom-up approach. How do you talk about dismantling Safaricom, which is a multinational corporation? And issues to do with the communication are things that the government cannot just leave to any other Tom, Dick, and Harry in the name of bottom-up economy. I also heard him talk about Kenya Airways. Kenya Airways is something that the government cannot just let go, because another thing, other than communication, things to do with airlines, the government cannot just leave in the hands of private dealers. So when you're trying to draw parallels between Martha and Gachagua, I think Azimio is already scoring 80%. Martha is someone that you cannot compare with Rigathi Gachagua. And Mheshimiwa, I'm told on that day, they were in Karen trying to settle the issue of running mate. People actually went physical.
Yes.
Yeah, we are just trying to be diplomatic.
That is just
people,
hearsay
yes.
So,
because majority of people who were there actually settled on Professor Kindiki. Because when you look at Professor, he's somebody that you can admire, even though he's on the other side of the political divide. But he's somebody that is calm, is diplomatic, can reason compared to this other person. So we are told, maybe we are not supposed to spread hearsays here, but now Rigathi was coming in with the monetary value, which Professor could not bring on the table. But we are happy that he settled on somebody that our running mate can beat tenfold.
Okay. I have to take a quick break. Now, when you come back, we'll talk about the issue of the blowers MPs rejecting Uhuru's new taxes and dangers in CSS openly backing Raila bid. This is also on the Standard. And there's also a conversation here on the Daily Nation where they're saying there's a Nyanza rebellion. A silent revolution is taking root in Raila Odinga's Nyanza backyard, where candidates of fringe parties and those vying as independents have ganged up against his ODM aspirants. And this also came in when the TSP party was accusing the Kenya Kwanza team of bullying and sidelining smaller parties. So it's on both sides. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Keep your views coming at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Daybreak. See you shortly.